here is where we stand in terms of European points. The top 6, just like in the USA, have automatically qualified. Rory McIlroy, Robert McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Rasmus Højgaard, and Tyrrell Hatton. 7 and onward are where we're going to talk today about completing this 6 teams. We're going to have that conversation with my dear friend Paul Eales. You guys are familiar with Eales. He's been a guest on the Fairways of Life show many times over the years. Eales is a winner on the European Tour, now called, of course, the DP World Tour. Eales also has played and won on the Legends Tour as part of the DP World Tour as well. He's a member of the board on the DP World Tour. I have broadcast with him all over the world and in all types of settings, platforms, and forums, and we're delighted to welcome him to the show. Eales, it's great to see you, my friend. Let's jump right into this. We've just talked about the top 6 on the European Ryder Cup team. Let's jump into number 7 and Shane Lowry. We put together graphics, and the graphics, Paul, that we have for you, if you wish, as a starting point, can kind of give you a macro sense of how these respective players are doing. So when we talk about Shane Lowry, here's a player. He missed automatic qualifying by less than 4 points, but he's only picked up 2.5 points from 6 Ryder Cup matches, and there you can kind of see the performance that he had through the course of 2025, not necessarily awing in any particular area. So give me a reason, if you please, why Shane Lowry has a shot at this team.
Hi, Maddie. Yeah, I mean, Shane-O, you can see there his form is picking up over the last few weeks. I think he's sniffing a Ryder Cup. He was in the automatic spot until Rasmus just pipped him last week, so he dropped down one, which now puts him in a position where he's going to need a pick from Captain Donald. His enthusiasm for the Ryder Cup and being around his mates would make me very comfortable if he was on the team.
All right, so taking it down the brass tacks then, Eales, Shane Lowry, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, Shane Lowry is on the Fairways of Life European Ryder Cup team. Number 8 is Sepp Straka. As we look at our chart, once again, 2 wins in 2025, 6 top 10s. He's 8th in strokes gained approach, 16th in greens in regulation. He had kind of gone off the boil there for a while, but some form wedged in the middle. Obviously, he has experience. Those 2 wins were impressive, but since the Truist victory, he's had 2 top 10s. He's had missed cuts in there as well. Currently 35th in Data Golf World Rankings. Is Sepp Straka at any kind of risk in your mind of not getting picked?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how the team is sort of formed on paper there, where it's virtually the same team that won back in Rome a couple of years ago, which included Sepp. He played both the foursomes matches where he won. He lost his singles game, but his form is just dipping, isn't it? So for me, there would be a question mark, but I could see absolutely why Captain Donald would want to keep a team together that was already victorious.
All right, but in your position today, as being the person that's either going to wield the axe or welcome them on the team, does Sepp Straka make it?
No.
Okay, Sepp Straka is a no. Let's go to number 9. It kind of seems, I'm going to say 9 and 10 because you can see him on our chart that we have skipped them. Ludvig Åberg and Viktor Hovland. Ludvig, of course, won the Genesis Invitational. Victor, who kind of had a bumpy start to the season and said he had no form at all, goes and wins at the Valspar Championship. So if I may, with those 2 players, if you want to comment accordingly and you think the prospects of them being on the squad.
Yeah, I think both of those will play, Maddie. Victor, his major record this year has been pretty good. And like you say, it came out of the blue when he won the Valspar down there. But his form's picked up. He's 15th in the world. And he played okay in the 2 final FedEx events of the year. So, Victor for me will be in. And, we saw how the Molinaris and Captain Donald looked at the stats going back, and suddenly we get Ludwig Åberg, what we think from nowhere, has become a superstar. So again, using those stats going forward, he will definitely play in the team. And we had that crunching win, didn't he? Over, what was it, Scheffler and Koepka? I think you covered that game, didn't you? For
Oh, it was
radio.
massive. Goes with it too. Yeah, it's like the greatest defeat in the history of the Ryder Cup that those two doled out. So we now have, ladies and gentlemen, the following: Shane Lowry, yes. Ludwig Åberg, yes. Viktor Hovland, yes. From our expert Paul Eales. So that means that we only have 3 spots left. We go back to the graphic again, and when you go back to the graphic of where we just were, Ealesy, I'm going to throw another name at you that's not on the graphic. Jon Rahm, Live Golf's individual champion. It was his 2nd year in a row. As such, he's only outside the top 10 in Live once throughout the course of their season. Is Jon Rahm automatically on this team?
Yes, he is.
All right.
I would think that if Luke had a clean slate at the start, he would have penciled in Jon Rahm. He's going to play in my team, and he's going to play a prominent role in that team, not just be part of the team. Jon Rahm will play, and I suspect that will be at the expense of the guy that's in number 12, which is Matt Wallace at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, let's pick that up. Let's go back to our graphics and find out where we stand, because folks, in what you're hearing us go through here, there are only 2 spots left. You've got some big names as well. Matt Fitzpatrick is 11th. Matt Wallace is 12th. Let's talk about those 2 before we go on to other possibilities.
Yeah, Matt Wallace, it's clear. He's let everybody know how much it would mean to him to be on the Ryder Cup team. He's actually, his cover for his yardage book is a Ryder Cup cover. So he has that with him every single time he looks at a golf shot and pulls a yardage book out. That's the Ryder Cup. That's how much it means to him to be on. But I just don't think he's done enough over the last few weeks or so. He's tried desperately hard, came back. He hasn't played. He's tried to mix both PGA Tour, DP World Tour events. Not been easy for him. I just don't see, when you've got so many good players, would he be a great part of that team? Yes, he would. I just don't see that he's done enough at this moment in time. Whereas Matt Fitzpatrick obviously has that record, he has that experience, he's got a major under his belt, and he started to show some form.
Yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick tied it for 8th at the PGA Championship. He's been on Ryder Cup teams in 16 and 21 in 23, but only 1 point has he garnered in those 8 matches. Is it about the ascent, Ealesy? Is he a definite lock in your mind?
I think Fitzy is a definite lock, yeah, particularly the way that his form's recovered. Obviously he parted ways with his coach, he parted ways with caddy Billy Foster. He's got a new team together, he's working well, and his results are proving that things are working for him at the moment in time. So if you look, as you said before, you look at current form coming in. I know we're a little ways away from the Ryder Cup matches at the end of September at the moment, but he's trending in the right direction.
All right, so we now have, through our expert Paul Eales, 5 of the 6 European Ryder Cup spots filled, and it leaves us with 13th, 14th, and then we skipped over to 17th and 18th in terms of additional picks. So, Ealesy, choose your last.
Okay, well, you can make a great case for Marco, for Harry Hall, for Nikolai. Obviously, he played on the last team in Rome. He's a winning Ryder Cup player. He finished 2nd last week out at the British Masters. He's played on a junior Ryder Cup team with his brother Rasmus. Wouldn't that be pretty cool if he played alongside Personally, I don't think he's going to get the pick, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. Harry Hall has played some superb golf on the PGA Tour this year. Again, has he done enough? Probably not. So my surprise, if it is a surprise, would be Marco Penge. He's currently second on the race to Dubai, and he has history of making putts and winning tournaments when he needs to. He's only there's two-time winners on the DP World Tour this year. One is Marco Penge, the other's Rory McIlroy. So he's right up there with Rory. He sits number 2 behind him at the moment. Go back to when he played on the Hotel Planner Tour, which is the secondary tour to the DP World Tour. He won twice to get on there. He had to win the Tour Champs. He did that. Gets onto the DP World Tour. The very last event, counting event for him, he was in 110th position, which kept a card for the next season. He birdied the final hole to finish in 1-1-0. He knows how to perform to keep a card. And then, of course, he goes through this year. He wins a couple of times. He held off Rasmus in Denmark to win his second event there, having won earlier on in the year in China. He hits at prodigious distances, averages through 320 yards. So he would be a perfect fit for the monster that is Bethpage. So to me, the up-and-coming star, and you'll see him on the PGA Tour next year. He's going to get one of the 10 cards from DP World Tour. He'll be playing over there, and he'll be a huge addition. He's a great young guy, new father, and I think, and I hope that he will be on the European team to go to New York.
Powerhouse pick by Paul Eales. The Fairways of Life European squad, by virtue of his expertise, is thus complete. Okay, on the left side of your screen, that is the United States Ryder Cup team. Scotty Scheffler, J.J. Spaun, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English, and Bryson DeChambeau. We put the little dotted line there. Very soon you won't see that anymore. Those were the top 6 that automatically qualified. But then the picks were made just a short time ago by Captain Keegan Bradley, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Cam Young, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. The FOL Euro Ryder Cup team is by virtue of the expertise of our guest and my dear friend Paul Eales. You can see the top 6 that qualified. I told you just a few minutes ago, McIlroy, McIntyre, Fleetwood, Rose, Højgaard, Hatton, and Paul has completed the team with his best estimate being Shane Lowry, Ludvig Åberg, Victor Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick, Marco Penge, and Jon Rahm. Of those 6, my guess is that at least 5 of those 6 from Paul Eales are flat-out locks, and we'll see how it plays out with the other. All right, so Ealesy, when you look at these two teams respectively, the actual United States Ryder Cup team or that which you think that you have patchwork together here today, your thoughts on the character, strengths, etc. of each?
Well, Matt, the American team always looks so strong on paper, but that old saying, you don't win a game of golf on paper, it's won on the golf course. It's going to be close. I hope it's going to be close because there's nothing more exciting in the game of golf than a Ryder Cup. In my opinion, it's the championship or the tournament that we look forward to every 2 years. The American side, as always, is so strong. It will be interesting to see what Captain Bradley does in terms of pairings. Foursome seems to be a one where the European team just has a little advantage at the moment. Certainly they did in the opening set of matches in Rome. And I do believe there's a stat going around somewhere that first morning matches dictates who's going to go on and win the Ryder Cup. So equally matched. It's going to come down to the singles. I don't foresee we're going to have a huge spread one way or the other. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting singles matchup, and how these two great captains put the teams together, and certainly the pairings on that final day. That's always interesting as well. So there's the stories to be had all the way through, and I just cannot wait for it to start. So
No
excited.
doubt. No doubt about that. As you're looking at your television screen, you're seeing the video that Andrew is playing of Bethpage Black. You talked about what a monster this golf course is from tee to green and more. What are your general thoughts? What do you feel that the thoughts are from the European side of this venue as the host of this Ryder Cup?
Well, it's not like it used to be in the olden days, Matt, where mainly the European team played in Europe. I mean, most of those players that we've seen up on the screen there are based on the PGA Tour. So they're used to setups over there. They're used to the speed of the greens. They're used to playing massively long golf courses. Probably not so much in hostile crowds, but they'll be expecting that coming forward now. The chants of USA, USA, we'll hear that. They'll hear it all the time. They may even have that on the headphones now as they're preparing and going round. It'll be a hostile welcome for them, but they'll be used to that. And of course, once you get into the playing of it, I'm sure the crowds will be respectful for both sides. And in terms of how far everybody hits the golf ball, you know, the only one that I looked in the teams that he has missed out was Brian Harmon. He would have been the only one of those players that were in contention that was probably short, that may well have struggled round there. But having said that, we've seen great players in the past. Corey Pavin springs to mind, hitting that final wooden shot into Shinnecock, was it, to win the US Open. So it's not purely length, but it's a huge advantage on this golf course that will be set up to its fullest length. I'm absolutely sure Captain Bradley's going to stretch this as far as he can.
With your experience, Ealesy, how much does being a rookie at the Ryder Cup, you know where I'm going with this, how much is that a real concern? Or given the fact that all these players have such deep experience on the world stage of golf, I'm not saying that it's not different at a Ryder Cup. I get that. But how much do we tend to overplay the idea that a player's a rookie and therefore subject to being consumed by circumstance?
I don't think we can overplay that, Matt. As you see, most of the captains will try and play all their players on the first day. That seems to be the trend now. You know, they've earned the right to be there. Let's not sit on the bench. We saw that with Mark James back, was it Brookline going way back, where I don't think he played two of the players, Jean van der Velde maybe and Jarmo Sandlin, until the singles, which ended up being a negative for the European team. So yes, there'll be, even the most experienced players tell you they're going to be nervous. So why wouldn't a rookie be? But they'll have good arms around the shoulders, and the pairings will be right. They'll feel as comfortable as they can possibly be. And then who knows what happens on the day? We know this game of golf, it's so fickle, isn't it? So even the greats can have the whoopsies.
You know, Ealesy, you called them a hostile crowd in terms of players getting mentally prepared from the European side for what they're going to be facing. But there has been a massive amount of talk, at least on the U.S. side, about the role of the galleries at New York because of how they have conducted themselves in the past, the general passion that a New York sports crowd has for their teams, et cetera, et cetera. How much is that a talking point on the European side? I get that you told us that they're already preparing for it and getting ready for it, but how much is that something that's I don't even know how to phrase it, to tell you the truth, Ealesy. Do I phrase it, say, is it weighing on their mind in terms of what role the 13th man on the United States Ryder Cup team, that being the gallery at New York, might play?
Yeah, I'm sure Luke Donald will have discussed this not only with his vice captains, but from all the players that he's spoken to and played with. Do you realise what you're going to go to? Particularly some of the rookies, it may be a shock for them. They may excite them. Who knows how people will respond. Remember, was it Bubba Watson that really ramped the crowd up on that first tee? He didn't want silence. He wanted noise all the time. Mm-hmm. So once you've got all that noise going on, it just becomes a cacophony of sound. And it's the moments of silence that are punctured by that outburst of get in the hole or whatever it may be that can put a player off. So I'm sure all these players, they're well experienced. They're all winners. They know what to do, but how can you prepare for something like a New York sports crowd? I don't know. But Luke Donald's been there, and he'll be telling the guys. Thomas Bjorn's been there. He'll get them rallied round. So there's enough experience within the European backroom staff to just let the guys know. And then, of course, they've got the practice days. So things will be pretty hostile in practice days, but nothing like that first morning on the first tee of a Ryder Cup. Golf doesn't see anything like that. This is just an unbelievable experience.
It is grand. It's so much fun, and there's such energy. The air is electric with the way it plays itself out, regardless of which side of the pond the Ryder Cup is taking place. While relative, obviously still connected to our Ryder Cup conversation, but I think it's broader than that. Earlier in the show, I'm not sure when you hooked up with us today, Paul, but we were talking extensively about Tommy Fleetwood. And I posed the question, when you look at the most popular players in the game of golf, and you could shrug your shoulders to that and go, okay, what does that even mean? I think it is important because it's important in terms of the growth of the game, fan engagement, et cetera, et cetera. And an argument can be made that we could talk about Bryson DeChambeau in that regard. Certainly, Rory McIlroy is probably the most prominent in that definition. I think Scottie Scheffler, in fairness, world number one, deserves a spot there. But I'm wondering right now, with what we've seen with Tommy and the dignity with which that he carried himself and the kindness with which he conducts himself and the easy smile and the words that he says, even in the wake of victory, that are flat out inspirational. Have we seen another player that has rightfully thrust himself into that discussion of one of the top most admired players, someone that the fans gravitate to in Tommy Fleetwood? Is that unique?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. And I think it goes back to what Tommy said, how he was brought up by his parents who supported him all the way through. And number one, Tommy's dad always said to him, be a good person first. And that's how he projects himself out there. Golf, yes, it's important to him. Of course it is. That's what he spends his life doing, and he's trying to be the best in the world. And we saw him just recently win the Tour Championship and get that sort of monkey off his back. But, like you say, I don't think Tommy will get any extra graces from the New York crowd just because he's a nice guy. The home fans are there to support the home team, and they will do that. And they will let Tommy know that he's not playing for the Americans. He's on the opposition. And even though you're a nice guy, pal, we're going to root against you. So, and then at the end of it, they'll have a beer. And, when Tommy plays next year on the PGA Tour, they'll all be supporting him again. But, I think it's one of the unique things with the Ryder Cup is that you've got the two factions there. And it's the same when it comes to the home match in Europe for us guys. We're definitely rooting for the home team. And, the thing with golf is every shot makes somebody happy. So hopefully the Europeans will make a lot of Americans unhappy with some of the shots they hit in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, to that point, if we take out this conversation that we're having about the gallery in New York, we talked a little bit about the golf course, and it's a big, big canvas. There's no doubt about that. But other than that, Paul, I don't find anything about this golf course that I at least in my perception that is clearly to a so-called advantage of American golfers. What's your impression of this? Is an old classic golf course. I mean, see target, hit target, avoid the dangers.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Matt. Obviously, we had Paris National a few years ago, 18 was it, where the European team that all played many championships around that golf course. I think Captain Bjorn at the time just narrowed some of the fairways in to negate the power off the tee of some of the American players. And then I think Captain Furyk got a couple of the old pairings wrong in foursomes where he had wild players playing together. They were never going to hit a fairway, so they weren't going to win a point round there. I don't see that with this course. Like you say, Matt, it's a great old traditional course. It's just long. But these days, all the players are long. So where is the advantage there? May come down to green speeds. But again, as we've said before, the PGA Tour hosts most of the European team anyway, so they're used to the speed of these greens. It's not like it was back in the old day when the Europeans were coming over and never saw greens anywhere near as fast as they were playing
Yeah.
over in the States. So I think it's going to be a fair test. It's going to be absolutely electric, the atmosphere, and we're looking for 24 of the best players in the world entertaining us.
Brilliant. You have done such a good job setting it up for us, Paul, as ever. Thank you so much for your time, my friend. It's good to catch up with you, even through a digital medium. And again, mostly we thank you today for your expertise and insight into what we might see coming up at Bethpage Black for this Ryder Cup. We're so incredibly excited about it. I'm sure you are too.
Absolutely, but hopefully nobody puts a bet on my team there and Marco Penge getting in there. It's a pick from the wild. It's something that I would like to see because I saw Marco as a junior player and was able to help him, Harry Hall, and Matt Fitzpatrick out in my day. So I'll be rooting for them getting the time. If he doesn't get a pick this time, maybe he'll play his way on in a couple of years in Adair manner.
Like I said,
great to see you, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. If you're not dead on, you're at least 5 of 6. I think it's that close.